Hey everyone, we are back in three, two, one. Whoop! Welcome back, y'all. It's J&J After Dark, the unfiltered, unedited hangout time where we talk about anything we feel like it, and you guys get to talk with us. So today's After Dark topic, we're gonna break down, and it's kind of in line with some other topics that we've done before, but we're gonna break down money versus happiness. Now, one of today's topics was the UPS drivers going in and making $170,000 a year. Now, that sounds fucking awesome, right? That sounds fantastic.
It does. And there was something I didn't mention in there too. Um, because you again now the topic is money versus happiness, or do they work together depending on the situation? The one of the requirements I said was like, you got to be able to pick up 70 pounds, blah blah blah, but then you also got to be able to work 8 to 10 hours shift. So some people may find
Pretty
the joy
normal.
in driving. It's pretty normal, but some people may find the joy in driving.
Hmm.
But if this is supposed to be your stepping stone to something else, I don't think it would be for that person because just because you have the money, you might not be happy. Um, let's say you're an actor, you won't have the time. You know, you may do audition tapes, but you might not have the time to go to these gigs because you're working full time, getting under 2K or 200K.
Yeah, you'll definitely be able to live comfortably, but
It's
is that
it's yeah.
is that the life you want? You know?
So it's just kind of like choosing. So some people feel fully, I guess, fulfilled when, like, for example, having children. Like, some people are chasing their dreams, and I can kind of like speak to myself on this. Like, I was like always like, let me get something done before um I
Kids.
bring kids into this life. But then, and it's something I spoke to Gabby about, taking it back a bit. So I'm going off like random tangents here. This is our tangent part. Let me take it back. Let me rein it in. So this is when I first started dating her, and then there was this guy who I met when I kind of first started working at Apple. It was like end of my shift, and I was introduced to him by a mutual friend. I'm like blanking on the name right now, and his girl broke up with him at some point, and I think he was salty at that point, and he's
Mhm.
like, "Yo, girls will slow you down. Like, just go after what you want, blah blah blah." And
Stay
yeah,
true, King.
yeah, get that money, son. Fuck
Don't let
bitches,
them
get
bring you
money.
down.
Yeah, like it's that like type of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And I had to stop, when I first started dating Gabby, and then one of my first responses to him was, "Why can't you just go for it all?" He kind of didn't have an answer, but he was just like, "Nah, just focus on you." And I'm like, so for me as an individual, I chose the harder path. I'm trying
Hmm.
to have everything. I'm trying to have the house. I'm trying to have the wife. I'm trying to have the kids. I'm trying to have my career. That is very difficult. And look, I'm not trying to choose a side on like man versus woman kind of a thing because I think it's hard for anyone. It is definitely harder for the woman. Why is it saying? Yeah, I am still here, Squadcast. Uh, anyway, um, it is definitely harder for the woman or women in general when it comes to chasing their dreams and having it all because they have an extra job because they
I
don't get
mean,
us canceled. That face showed it all.
I mean, I feel like making sandwiches isn't that hard, but fine, go ahead. We can keep going. We'll play in this fantasy land, right?
I'm gonna
I'm
post this
just
on
joking.
TikTok.
Please, someone don't clip this and make it
They're gonna
bad.
clip they're gonna clip that out, and then they're gonna be like, "This guy, don't listen to him." Anyway, no, like they do have the heart because they're also playing the mother and wife role as well on top of their dreams and everything. But speaking for me as an individual, I did choose the harder path. For anyone being a man or woman, you're choosing a harder path to have it all. I'm happy that, and that's another thing. A lot of people find it difficult finding their love, their significant other, whatever. But it's one of those things where if you don't know where your heart is, like I knew what I wanted. I knew I wanted a girl, I wanted a wife, and I wanted all those things. If you're having trouble with that, then you have to figure out something with yourself, and that goes into the happiness aspect of it. if you don't find happiness and joy is two different things. If you don't find joy in your day, then there's a problem. It doesn't have to be consistent. It doesn't be like being joyful every second of the day, but there has to be something that gives you joy. Like I know on Sundays, what brings me joy is One Piece. I know 12 o'clock, I'm gonna read a chapter. Good day.
Hmm.
I know Saturday night, midnight, I'm watching an episode, or maybe Sunday morning. Like there, that's just two examples. Obviously, there are other points in my week, and I would like to ask you that as well. So, like, I have those moments where I have joy. Now, now, when it comes to my money, and I mentioned that to you, I spent a lot of my money into my projects. Went to Comic Con with no money, had to make money back, which was fun. That to me was joyful. That was fun, and I was happy. And there goes a thing here. Things that I love, and I was making money. This needs to happen.
Because that, and I mean, I think I could speak for both of us. That, like, the joy that we received from there, because I definitely felt it too. That was like I don't even know, like a drug level high. It was
Yeah,
so different than like regular, like joy that you get from like things throughout your week. Like that one, it was very much like I went to this con and I was like, and I've explained it the same way to different people. Like I've described it the same way. I've said it's a life changing event. Like it was a life changing thing where like I felt a whole different kind of way. It was like, holy shit, I want to do this. It was like, I want to do this and I don't care that my body felt like shit afterwards. Like, I want to do this with people and like, and continue it. Like, that's what I felt. And I think it comes from that marriage of money and, uh, your interest, your hobby, your passion,
yeah,
rather.
yeah, and that's hopefully like right now I'm at my happiness state. I'm not. I haven't got the money. I can stay at my job and I don't want to say easily move up. I can move up. It's not impossible, but I know I'll get more unhappy.
Yeah.
There was a point maybe a year or two ago. I want to say like after lockdown,
Hmm.
we got back to our jobs. I was going through the motions. I was like, we're back, we're working, and then there was a point a couple months after that. I was just getting. I don't want to say depressed. I was just like, I'm just like stuck here, like
Hmm.
I'm stuck, and I need. I'm like, I felt like, and I can use this reference with you because we finally got past this point in Dressrosa in One Piece, where Luffy's felt trapped, and you have the physical cage closing
Mm.
in on
Yeah.
the eye. I felt like that while working where I'm at right now because I just feel like I can't leave. The only way out of here is to bust out. Metaphorically, I have to create. I have to do big things to get out of this place. And the biggest thing I've done was go for that promotion, going from my expert role to the genius role for so I can get more money to kind of fund my projects. And that kind of leads me into this thing where that video I sent you a while back. I always reference this video. I forget the title, but basically it was in terms of keeping your 9 to 5. Because look, you can definitely take that Assassin's Creed leap of faith and then go for that dream, you know,
Hmm.
but you have no character. But that's why they call it the leap of faith. But if you feel like you have other responsibilities, which I do, and I have to keep my 9 to 5 because it will do two things for me. It will pay for my responsibilities and whatever that is, and also pay for my projects. At some point, so what I'm trying to do is do again, make the thing that makes me happy also bring me money. Again, I'm choosing the harder path here because I'm doing all those things. I'm dealing with my personal life. Like, you and Andrea reconnected after a while. It's been a while when it was just us three. And like even me and her, we're barely hanging out because like we have what we she has her thing and I'm have my thing. And I think the last time I met up with her, it was very cold. I remember we had, I guess, brunch, and it was just me and her because we were trying to like plan for it. It was just me and her that hung out.
Hmm.
But yeah, like life happens. So now, if you're just all about the money, definitely do it. But if it doesn't make you happy, that just got to figure it out. And I can't tell people like what to do. Like some people think it's like I'm not creative enough. I'm not doing it. I'm like, find something else. It doesn't have to. The thing that makes you happy doesn't have to make you money. That's another thing too. It doesn't have to make you money. You can work your office job all day and I don't know, maybe the gym. That's just an example. Or painting. My wife does that. I told her I was not going to post about it, but there it is. There it is. This she did this. It looks dope. I
Yeah,
told her
it's awesome.
she should put it on TikTok. She there's more behind me do that because she asks so nicely not to be talking about her stuff like that. But it's something that brings her peace.
Yeah.
You know, um, makes her happy.
And I think that's another differentiator, like something that can bring you peace. Because I think the things that bring you peace allow you to go through your day. The things that bring you joy give you purpose. So like you can have, your 9 to 5 that you hate, but one of your hobbies or interests can
Does
bring
look
you
happy.
peace.
Like
What'd you say?
no, I said there was a little lag there.
Oh, okay. No, I was just saying that like um hobbies and interests can bring you peace. It's something that kind of calms you when you enter that storm, right? Like the
Yeah,
day to day, mundane tasks of it all, like the monotony, like those are things that break it up and make you feel whole again. But the things that bring you joy are the things that give you purpose. So a lot of the times things that bring you joy are the things that you kind of chase after, and those are typically your passions and stuff like that. Sometimes they're addictions and vices, but those are like ill-conceived high moments of happiness. It's not real joy. But
yeah,
when you find things that give you joy, when you feel like you have kind of found your purpose, like those are the things that I think matter the most. Because as someone who, I don't want to say I ever chose money, because that's not the type of person I am, but I went the way of, like, I guess you could call it like selling out. Like I stopped really focusing on my passions and my interests, and I kind of like begrudgingly leaned into this role of like, working in business, right? Working the 9 to 5. Like it, it's easy to tell it's not my passion. It's something that I know how to do, and I could do it at a decent level, I believe, right?
yeah.
But nothing about that brings me peace or joy.
Yeah.
I have,
And I think, and for you, like you're still in a place where there is creativity that you can, it at some point, if you're this career, you can get there. It just depends. It's
yeah, it's, for me, I work on what you call it, the strategic side. So I don't have any creative like flow really
yeah,
that goes through my day to day. But when it comes to money versus happiness, like you can be happy with no money. You can be happy and broke. You know, it doesn't, like, I feel like some people can make that decision of like going towards more money, and then you get kind of like materialistic, or you don't want some of these things to go away, or you want to live a certain level of comfortability that maybe the previous generation in your family couldn't afford. And like there's other things, right? And having money makes life easier. Let's not.
yeah. It shouldn't bring you happiness. It should bring you. It makes your life easier. Like
Yeah.
so, I hear Gambardism says happiness and joy are similar but different. Like I would say, the reason I always strive for joy, um, because it's kind of to me, it's more of like an internal thing, and it's
Mhm.
like the carpe diem of a thing. Happiness is like something external. So that's how I understand it.
Mm,
So like
that's pretty good.
if someone gives me $1 million, I'm happy for that moment because I'm like, okay, I can pay off, I can be comfortable, but that's not gonna make me, I guess, it's not gonna make me feel joyful because it's like it's a temporary thing. Now, for what I can do with that money, that makes me a lot more happier and joyful because I'm like, I can use that to make my thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So the money itself doesn't make me happy because then there are people that are greedy because it's like when you're hearing like fiction or even just in real life, it's like you have all this money. It's like, why do you keep chasing after the money? It's like you're just addicted to just having it where I don't feel that way. Like sometimes I feel guilty when I'm like, oh yeah, I got a little more money, but it's like no, because my what the thought behind it is like I have more money for my project. But that's not it's not like it comes up for it, but I know what it's for,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, like it's
So
spoken for already. Um,
yeah,
yeah, it's a hard thing to do when it comes to money because money affords you comfortability.
freedom.
Now, because you have money doesn't necessarily mean you're free, right? Maybe you get your money in such a way, like maybe you're a part of some sort of business or something where you always need to be on. Maybe you're working till midnight every day. Maybe you got to work weekends and stuff. Maybe your job is extremely demanding. So now
Yeah,
you're talking about, yeah, sure, it gives you all this money that you can put into other things, but like, do you get to enjoy any of those other things? You know, while money does allow you to have certain freedoms, you can never buy back your time. You can allow yourself to have a certain amount of time, right? So like, I'm sure people like DJ Khaled and freaking Kim Kardashian and stuff like that, they have days to themselves where they can just say
do
screw
nothing.
it and spend money on doing nothing. Right? They can
Exactly,
spend money to do nothing.
exactly.
But they're also, I'm sure, some of the busiest people on the planet, right? There are decisions in their lives that they have to make where it's like, okay, I'm going to do this so that I can maintain my level of, wealth or whatever. And in those moments when they're doing project X or whatever, that time is gone. They have dedicated their time to maintaining their level of wealth or status, whatever you want to call it. So with that money, they can't buy back those even 20 minutes, let's say they spent. They can't buy that back. They can only pay it forward so that they can have 20 minutes later. So there's always a give and take you have to do. And I think when it comes to money, you don't want to put all your time and effort up front, assuming at the end of the day, at the end of it all, you'll have time.
Yeah. It's funny you say that too, because I came across, and it comes up, there's a lot of random like philosophy thing that comes up on my feed. I don't want to say they're corny, it's just kind of like trite, but some of them do make sense, but some
Oh,
of them
like
it's
that
like way,
inspirational stuff and all.
yeah, and then some of them are just like AI generated, but like some of them, like I saw a video and of this guy speaking. So it was like a black and white video. Um, and it was like something about the philosophy. It's like, yeah, you can work and make money, but it's just like it doesn't, you don't feel good. Like if you like for me, like my thing, time is more important than money because I don't want to spend all my time making money until like I'm 80 and then I'm like, okay, I got all this time now and I missed out on so many things that I'm
Yeah.
regretting it. Then that's just gonna break my heart. Where like I'm lucky I work in a place where I can just like my shifts can I can give away shifts, I can get like tomorrow I have a short shift. Half my days I'm not making that money, but I'm spending my day editing my Kickstarter. Like I can just do that or put up our video from our last week's episode on YouTube. Like that's things I'm thinking I can do. If I was working full time tomorrow, I'd be going to work and then I'm just coming home to just put on reruns. It's like I because I'm drained all day, you know. And that's one of the things I hope to one day I can make enough money with doing cons or I can supplement those things. But it's something that's it's a hard work. And just like we found out on our first con, it is hard work. It's not easy, but look, I had fun doing it. If I went that con and made only that one sale, I think I would have been happy because I'm like talking to people about it.
Yeah.
It would have sucked. It would have sucked. Realistically, it would have sucked.
We would not have
But
been happy.
yeah, but um
That sale
yeah,
would have brought us joy, but we would not have been happy.
exactly. That is facts on facts on facts. Um but yeah, so I it's one of the things and and what I loved about it too, like people that showed up and asked me questions. I feel like the old hermit, like I felt like freaking if you for those who know Naruto, I felt like Jiraiya, like the old man trying to give people advice when they're asking for it. But I'm like, yo, build your portfolio now. Like I was trying to build a portfolio when I was younger, but it was just like I remember looking back at my stuff. It was very pretentious. Like I know a movie that I want to create. I realized I can just turn into a comic book. But I was like, the title is very pretentious. Like we all done it. Like my title was very like Latin. It was like Latin. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be. It's about life. I'm gonna call it this. I look at like my alien heroes, like the it was like trash. Like I was like, oh wow, they spoke this way. Like why did my character say these things? It's very like definitely keep working on your stuff because that's the thing that will bring you joy. And then ultimately that money will come. Just takes hard work. And don't and Seth Rogen said it himself, like if you quit whatever it is, again, it doesn't have to be creative. If you quit, you're definitely not going to get the thing you want unless again God decides to just throw some luck bomb at you. But that's doesn't happen for everyone. But keep trying. And then because he also mentioned, and I've seen this video like 3 times on IG for the past couple months. Ian McKellen. No one knew who he was until he played Magneto, and then freaking Gandalf. Dude was in his 60s. So yeah,
In his 60s, looking like he was already 90. Like, it's intense, to see, like, and we've spoken about it before too, like, the celebrities that, like, came about later in life. Like, it's true. It's, if you feel like this is your thing, if you have found true purpose in something, if your goal is to make it big with it, then you just have to keep at it. At one point, you will hit that, like, the rule of 10,000 hours. Like, something will tip.
yeah,
Like, it doesn't matter when it is, but, like, it will happen if you stay with it. You will catch a break where something's like, okay, whether it's people taking notice of your stuff or you getting, whatever position, role, whatever it is, like, something will catch.
yeah,
You just have to continue at it, and you have to continue to grow with your industry, whatever that may be. So you can't say stagnant doing the same thing for 10 years and it's outdated. Work on your stuff and make it better as you go.
and
And that
innovate.
and innovate. That goes with any field, from plumbing to, influencing on social media. Like, you cannot become, like, great at something if you don't innovate and evolve with the thing that you're trying to do. So, there's just, going back, right? There's just so many things that can make you money, but there's so few things that will make you, the individual, happy. Like, think about it that way. It's like you can do anything for money. You
Yeah,
can you can hold a cup out on the street, not to say that you'll make a lot of money, but you can do that and you can get money.
yeah.
Or you can try.
Collect cans and bottles, get money. You can do that, and that's we're talking about like these aren't even jobs. This is just ways to get money. And I'm not. We're not trying to shame anyone or anything like that. We're not talking bad about it. It's just like there are ways to get money. We're just talking like lowest of the low. Like you can definitely get money some way, some shape, form.
Yeah, there's
And
always an outlet.
yeah. And then also, I also want to change people's like idea on like hustle or hustle culture. Hustle doesn't mean get rich quick. And I like when people say, I like your hustle in the sense that you're doing the work. Now, hustling, people like when people think about it, they think it's just like, oh, he's just doing this thing just to get money. Where it's like, no, hustle to me is like, no, he's doing a thing that he's chasing after his dream.
Yeah.
That's how I like to see it when I hear people hustling, depending on what the topic is or whatever. Then I'm like, nah, he's just trying to make money. Like
Hmm.
that's like when people are like rapping or like that's like and people look people make fun of people that trying to rap. I'm like, look, let them do their thing because they're doing the thing that they love. Now if you're doing it to make money, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. And look, people just make it big sometimes, but then like I think of people like I don't know his life, I just remember the situation. Roddy Rich's The Box
Yeah.
that came out, songs popping, fire, sky's the limit with that song. Months later I see him on a clip of him, he didn't know the lyrics to his song. Like things like that. I'm like, so you did all this just to make the money. Now you can't even recite the music that you made. Like that's a problem,
Yeah,
you
I
know?
mean, you do the stuff to get the clout, and it's like once you get it, like, all right, what else are you doing?
Exactly.
At
So it,
some.
it bothers me because like when I see people with all these followers, and I'm like, oh my god, like you know what I could do with these followers? Like people, like I'll be like, I'll see thousands of people liking and commenting. I'm like, if I had that, I would be interacting with every one of them. Like, thank you, blah blah blah. Like, thank you for reading. Like, if this was me, I'll be like,
Mm,
and then people do the same thing over. Like, Ken Starr, I've seen
yeah.
a few videos of it. Like, he has a lot, but like, is he chasing the dream of becoming a comedian or stand-up comedian? Like, I don't know his situation, but it's like he has people in the palm of his hand. It's like, what are you doing? And he's not posting as much as he's like. I remember I loved his classic skits, but now it's just like he's promoting these things here and there, and then some of his stuff is not funny. Like it's gonna get to a point where I unfollow him.
Mm,
Or you got someone like Sasha Mercy, who also they were in the same circle group, Heights, Harlem, Bronx. She's in LA doing her thing.
hmm
She did like I think a short movie or something like that recently, but she did like stuff on Vice. Like she's doing something with her followers. She's talking about her stuff. She's carrying these people. You got to be able to move that. You know, it's kind of like Olin Rogers. He was on YouTube. He was able to take his followers, and he had a Final Space fans just from YouTube. Like that's already a lot of people. So
Again, you're talking about innovating as you go, right? Like this, you're evolving with your ideas, with your platforms, and all that. Like all these people started out just putting something up. They did
yeah,
the everyone, and it's I just saw this thing on Instagram today,
yeah,
and it was a forgot who she was, but she's like a mega influencer. She's a pretty blonde, she makes all this content, and she said the same thing. She was like, "Listen, we all start at the same place." She was like, "Everyone starts with 0 followers and 0 posts." And she was like, "Now what you do with that is different across the board." But she was like, "But everyone starts at 0. Everyone has the same starting point." So if you're just, if you're like an Instagram thought and you out there just posting butt pics or whatever, like
that doesn't last.
there will be a plateau. Like there,
And and who said it best? Cardi B said it. She was like, "I stopped doing that, chased her cute music career, and look where she is now."
yeah, she was a
She was
stripper.
smart. And look, people think she may be like dumb or like not smart or what's the other word?
That girl is one of the smartest people to ever do it.
She was just like, I'm gonna stop doing this.
Listen,
And
she was a stripper. She was crazy. She
and look,
talked
by all
about being an
means,
escort. Like,
yeah, by all means, start that way because that's like what you want to do.
yeah,
But
do you?
know that that's gonna stop at this point. Do move your money, move your money in a smart way. In a sense, like Jay-Z. Like Jay-Z doesn't have to make music anymore. He does not have to
Ever.
make music anymore because
Jay
he's
Z doesn't
making
have to
money
do
leaving.
anything ever. Like,
Yeah,
you talk about getting to a place where I feel like
you make your money. You're making money while you sleep.
I'm sure this man has a lot to do. He runs different companies and stuff like that. But tomorrow, he could sell off his or like step away from like his CEO duties or founder duties for different things, and he could just coast on the dividends that he receives from all of his different properties. That man literally can retire at any moment and have an infinite amount of time because he's put in so much work and done so much other stuff, while chasing his dream. He moved his money smart. Like he learned as he went. There was
Before social media.
this guy Magic Johnson. I just saw him. He had an interview like a week or two ago, and he spoke about how Nike originally approached him. He did a deal. Famously, he stepped away from Nike in those days and went with Adidas or Converse, maybe. I think it was Converse. So at that point, Nike was nothing. Nike wasn't anything until they signed Jordan. So Nike was a small time shoe label, and they came up and they were like, "Hey, we can't give you that money. We can't give you Converse money, but we can give you this amount of money and stocks." Today, those stocks are worth $5.2 billion. So he was younger, he didn't have the wherewithal and the just the know-how about stocks
Yeah.
and all that. He went for the large sum of money. He was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go for that. It was that instant gratification almost where he knew he was more secure with that. But again, that you can talk about how he just literally did not have that knowledge. But that's a good example, right? He didn't have that knowledge and he went with something he thought was a safer bet. $1 million back then sounds fantastic,
Yeah.
but 5.2 billion right now sounds even better. So, something like that, he could have been the face of Nike. He could have been Jordan before Jordan, you know. Magic Johnson is definitely a great in his own right, but
Yeah.
the shoe deal that kicked it off could have been Magic Johnson rather than Michael Jordan. So just the funny thing of like, I think learning is probably the best thing you can do as you grow um with whatever your platform is. Like Jay-Z is someone who strikes me as like he learned how to move his money as he went upwards, right?
Yeah. And I think that's what like that's happening with me. And like obviously it's very incremental compared to someone like Jay-Z or anyone like
Yeah.
at that level. Like, you know, right now I'm not like keeping track of all these things. Right now I'm just trying to like have
The
my money
product.
in. Yeah, and then have the product like I can be like, oh, I'm selling out here. Like I want to be able to start like getting like in my head, I'm saying like the chugga of the train. Like I'm trying to
Yeah.
get it going. Because right now I'm just still to me in my personal like looking at myself outside in, I'm still at the station. I'm building my train up, but I haven't moved yet. But I'm happy I'm on my way there. Like there are people that just have the tools, but they're not building their train. If
My,
I'm still sticking with this metaphor.
yeah. My conductor's taking a shit.
Yeah. You're my guy in the chair next over. I'll have you hop on. But yeah, man. Kind of like taking it back to the question. Yeah, Gambit says say he feels the same way. Um, but dude, I feel like when it comes. I don't know like your finances and stuff, but I feel like you're ahead of me in the game.
Bro, Gambitism, you're in my book, you are
Yeah,
fucking you're there, man. You are a you're like a fictional deity. It doesn't even make sense. And I was talking to Jay after the con because for you guys that don't know, Gambitism actually showed up at the con to say what's up to us at Tampa Bay Comic Con a couple weeks ago. When I saw you through the corner of my eye, I had a fucking like mental breakdown because I was like, oh my god, this person that existed only in my computer screen is here in front of me. That
I
was
feel like it's like
intense.
Dave Chappelle showing up on the
Yeah, it
thing.
was it was fucking crazy, to
And
see that.
yeah, and for those who know, Gambitism goes by the name
Brian
Brian
D.
D. Covington,
Covington.
who wrote or has written uh, Between Magic and Dreams, book 1 and 2, and he has two comics out there. I wasn't a part of. Wink, wink. Um, um, but
But
yeah, like
it's intense. And yeah, I mean, no matter where you are in the process, like, and another thing, right? Our sound engineer, which is like a funny thing to say, but we have a sound
hey,
engineer
we yeah,
for the podcast. We're about to hit in 2 weeks. We hit 2 years doing this podcast. But our sound engineer, one of the first things that he said when we were able to bring him on, because we pay him, and he's shout out to Mark. He told us that one of the things that people get discouraged with when doing podcasts is the ramp up. The beginning, like building your show, finding the groove, and ramping to where you want to be, takes a long time. Like, it's intense, and I don't want to say it sucks. There's just a lot of work in the beginning, right? A lot of work until you hit the flow. But it's like
yeah,
that, like I keep saying, it's that 10,000 hour mark.
Yeah. And then yeah, like compared to our like if we look at our first couple months, we're at a better place because we
Oh,
know
hell
what we're
yeah.
about. The only thing we were just talking off air on like what because like we know our social media is like almost
Lacking.
like a wild west. There's what do you call those things that tumbleweeds? They're tumbleweeds sometimes. Then you got the random, you know, gunslinger that comes through and then says hello and then pieces. We try to be interactive, but sometimes we get the one or two that respond and it's like, okay, cool. Like we're not there. But then it's also because we have real jobs. We have lives that we do other things. So it's hard for us. Like it's hard for me on my personal stuff. I'm ramping it up, but like on my personal page, but it's just like to do it for another page. Like I try to make a separate one for the Alien Heroes, a separate one for Napoleon from the Machines, but those didn't. And I got like a couple followers there, and then I was like, ah, this seems like a lot of work. I'm just gonna, but
Consolidate.
yeah. And then I consolidated everything, and I'm just realizing I'm like I'm becoming a shop. I don't want to be a publisher. That's like something I know I don't want to be. Because I think there's too many small time publishers out there that want to make it big when there
Hmm.
are big publishers out there where like you can just in a sense join forces but kind of just get absorbed and still keep your rights for your characters.
Hmm.
And many people have done that and that's what I'm trying to do right now. Um but I'm realizing from my page I'm becoming a one-stop shop for all my stuff. Uh, and yeah, and I'm hoping I can just get out of it, get out of well, I'm hoping to break out in my when it comes to my stuff, you know. But yeah,
Yeah, I think we can start to wrap it up here, but yeah, when it comes to money versus happiness, if you work on what brings you happiness, what brings you joy, if I'm being honest, is not really happiness because, like we discussed, happiness can be very fleeting. What brings you joy and brings you purpose, if you work on those things, money will come, right? Like, if you focus on money too much, you might lose the most precious resource anyone has, and that's time.
yeah,
You like I said, you can never buy back time. You can use money to make, you know, to kind of like, I guess, take advantage of your time coming up, but you can never buy back time that's been already
yeah.
like
It's kind of like you
wasted.
said too. Like if I let's say I'm 100 years old and I still haven't become the writer director that I want to be, I spent my time doing what I was happy. You know, I can't regret it because I'm like I didn't say I didn't try. You know, I
And if
did.
you're being and being honest, like, look at how many people you've touched already on your journey. And if this is the beginning, like, look at, like, just imagine, like, exponentially, like, what you call it, like, like, map that out.
Yeah,
And like, it's insane to think about what could be if you
yeah,
continue on, you know.
yeah. And again, I've said this to many people. It's just like do not, and I think we said that before on a couple episodes ago. Maybe it was after dark. Don't strive for perfection too much because then you won't get the job done, whatever that may be. Because like I remember someone was like, "Hey, hold off on my brother Teddy," and then I was like, "Nah," because you're like we were in two different places, and I'm like, I have the product here,
Yeah.
and I can die right now, and my thing is out there, it's available. 60 years from now, I could be in a class being talked about my brother Teddy, the
Hell
freaking
yeah.
Shakespeare. Like you never know.
I mean, you're well on your way to international fame at this point. Like,
You're not wrong.
it's real.
Yeah. So the
Like,
feelings out there, like I look, money is great, but I felt so good when small German family was applauded. These are
when
the
they
main part of it.
plotted
They
your work,
applauded. They applauded my work, like a lot, all 3 days. Like
dude.
that means a lot more than it means a lot more. It's hard to say, but it's like it does because it's that means what I'm doing is real
Yeah,
and it's
it
not
has a real
manufactured
effect.
by DC or Marvel.
No, it has a real effect, and like we were talking about during the show, those indie things that people will like attach themselves to, it's because they feel the love and passion, they feel the like the work behind it, right? They feel the genuosity um in what you're doing, so they latch onto it. It's intoxicating, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, man. It's
Even for Brian's book, I'm waiting for part three, which again, when part three comes out, I'm gonna wait for the audiobook because I can't read.
I mean, and you know what? The voices on the audiobook also, I feel like, do a great job.
Oh yeah, the guy who narrates it, he does a
Yeah.
good job. Um, I think when I finished the book, because it took me a minute to
Hmm.
finish the second book.
The second one.
Um, I think he posted about it, and I went downloaded the audiobook. And Audible needs to figure out like one-time purchases because I don't want to have to sign up for it every time. But then I'll get like a free one, and I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, I know I want this one thing. Or if you buy a book, there's already an automatic Audible or something like that.
Yeah.
But so yeah, so I bought the audiobook, and then I just like reread, quote unquote, or listened to the last like couple chapters just to be like, okay, I understand what's going on.
Hmm.
But yeah,
I think I'm gonna read them back to back. I feel like that's a thing because I want to. Because it's been so long since I read the first one.
well, when three comes out, you should probably do that.
Or yeah. Oh,
And
okay.
by the time three has an audiobook, you would probably
Yeah.
just hop
Just
right
do all three. Yeah. That makes sense.
and the comics too.
Well, yes. Now that I have one of
Yeah,
them. I got to get the other one.
yeah. But yeah,
But
this was a good topic. We didn't curse a lot. I wish we did, but fuck, fuck, fuck,
fuck
fuck.
balls, shit cock. Um.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah. We just got to get that in there just because it's after dark.
but
We got a
yeah,
quota.
we have a cursing quota. We have to figure out like at some point we'll figure out like a I guess like a counter, and it'll
That can
pick
be done
up.
in post though.
I guess it could be done in post.
Like again, that's where we got to hire someone to.
Yeah, we have to have someone else do that shit. That's too much for us.
Yeah, I still got to upload last week's episode.
See, we're ready. We fall behind even when we're not.
Yeah.
But thank you all for bearing with us and going through going through the After Dark with us. So we will catch you guys next week. Remember twitch.tv/the average J's. Tell your neighbors, tell your enemies, tell your families, tell your friends. Have them all come on and join with us so we can do this again.
And here was who was holding up my mic. It was the child before he was known as Grogu. I think this was the best one, and I got it because it says the child, and he's using the Force.
All right. Thank you guys. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye.